Hello again, everybody. Welcome back in another edition of Forerunner News, and this one is a big one. So let's get to it because there's a lot of stuff to cover here. Let's start with Elddr. One of the lore heroes is finally getting a rework, and hopefully this makes him a lot better and a little bit more enticing to some players that do summon him. Now, his current version, I did use him a lot in the early game, mid game for this account, and he helped me clear a lot of content. I'm hoping that this makes him a lot better and we can bring him into the end game. So let's start with the whole rework. In terms of just overall, they're going to make him a 2-tile fighter, and also they're going to change him from him being a single target to an AoE fighter. So that's what you can kind of get here from the basic, is that the attack deals now up to 120% damage up to 5 enemies. So it's just not going to concentrate on one. He can hit more than one. When this hero has a shield, dealing damage grants extra damage equal to 30% of the current shield strength. That's another modifier that they're changing. This is in his incarnation. The attack increase 30, 30, 50, 50, 50%, of course, on how many skills you put on. The hero gains standard ages. Allies in the same faction on the battlefield temporarily gain Elddr's talent, ultimately lasting for 20 seconds. And of course, his talent is he deals extra damage. All right, let's go to the Tander's ages. Gains a shield equal to the hero's 20% attack per second, up to a maximum shield equal to 200% attack. So that's a big boost, right? Okay, let's continue on with the rework. Storm of Retribution, now he's backed his attack and do up to 20% chance to trigger a Thunder Hammer, dealing an extra up to 250% damage. If the hero has no shield, the triggering the Thunder Hammer has a 40% chance to gain a shield equal to 50% attack for 10 seconds. I mean, essentially it's just a way for him to stay alive. So I'm gonna be really curious as to how long now he can last being a front unit in some situations, especially for some of the early game content that we have here in Watcher or Realms. He has the Thunder Protection still. When taking damage, he gains a shield equal to up to 60% max HP and damage increase up to 30% for 10 seconds. This effect can be triggered up to one time it looks like you can reduce that to 35 seconds. Perfect. His Awakening 1 is getting changed. During the ultimate, allies heroes within one tile also gain half the Thunder Aegis effect. Okay, and if we look at that, they gain a shield. So everybody's gaining a shield there as well. I'm wondering if it can become viable for the tanking of GR2 with this, because now you don't need to rely on King Hearts. We'll see. Something to play around with. We can try it. Awakening 3. During the ultimate, the Thunder Hammer triggers a chance, increases by 40%. Okay? And then his fifth one. The Thunder Hammer deals extra damage equal to 30% of his current shield strength. It looks like a good modification. It's all about the shield. It's exactly what you expect at a Northerner, right? So, but the fact that they made him a 2-tile fighter makes him a lot better. I do think that this is somewhat of an improvement. Again, we need to test this. We need to see the hero in the test server, and then we'll figure out how exactly he will, how viable he's going to be as we progress to the end game. Aries is also getting a little bit of a modification. They're going to reduce his cost from 26 to 22. His talent is gaining 10% vulnerability, and this can be applied to enemies for 3 seconds every time that this triggers. He has the Awakening 1, so his deployment cost will be reduced by 2, and his whole Golden Trammel range will gain 1. So his A1 already, it gave him that extension. It's just that in this one they are adding the deployment cost of 2. So if you have an A1 Aries, you're gonna go from 26 to 20 in terms of his cost. Okay, his Awakening 3 during the ultimate, his Unrelenting will trigger. The interval is reduced by an additional 1 second. His Awakening 5, the Mighty Trust and the Destiny's Decree will ignore the target's magic resistance ratio is increased from 20 to 25%, dealing more damage, right? So those of us that at some point were using him for GVG, maybe he gets a little bit of a boost with the vulnerability and the fact that they're ignoring a little bit of magic resistance more than he did previously. I think that this will make him even better than what he is right now. So we'll definitely look forward to that, especially for those that already have him at A1, to see how that all plays out. Elysia, the Epic, the Lord Epic Arborer, she is also going to get an issue fixed with her. So the Skyward Sovereign Ultimate was dealing damage to her apparently. Well, now apparently they fixed that to make sure that it does not happen again. Rygar, another fix for Rygar. All right, so they're saying we're going to fix an incorrect skill description for Rygar. They are going, his brute strength at level 5 is defense penetration goes from 5 to 10%. So apparently he already had it at 10. They're just fixing that. Okay, so that's essentially what that comes about. And they also fixed an issue where Rygar had an unstable damage output in rare cases. Okay, so apparently I don't have him in my main account. I don't have him in this account either. So apparently there was something that was allowing him to do a little bit of extra damage. So they're going to tweak that just to make sure that does not happen. All right, let's talk about Marwick Soul Evolutions, because this is going to be big, especially for some of us that are just trying to get rid of keystones, right? Because we want to just open things up so the capacity, so we don't burn the possibility of getting 3s and 4s or even 5s for that regard. They're going to add auto fights for level 1s and 2s. Yes, those are typically the simple ones to use. There are some situations that you don't want to have one of the platform units, maybe be in place. But if you set up a good composition, they can pretty much clear the same key. All depends on what the modifier is. There's some modifiers that you really have to take into account, bringing a specific hero to combat that specific modifier. But aside from this, if you just see it, you can clear it, go for it. Perfect. They also add in a destruction feature. So now we can just get rid of them. If we don't want to run the key, that's fine. We can destroy it. Now, I wish that we could get something back for it and then turn it into another level keystone, or just to be able to increase the rarity of one of the existing keystones. Just something to get something back for it, but they have not added that. They added an energy feature to the trial keystone, so when the commanders enter a trial, you'll have 1 energy and that will be deducted when the battle concludes. If the trial keystone is greater, the trial keystone's energy is greater than 0, the commander can choose to abandon the rewards, leave the trial, and then retain the keystone. So this is just a way for you to protect yourself in case something goes horribly wrong, you want to retract, you want to run the key again. As long as you have energy, you'll be able to rerun it. They optimized the chest settlement animation. Perfect. They added recommended hero displays for some of the tags. So this is going to come in handy. I'm waiting to see what the drowsiness one is going to recommend. We'll see what happens there. They increased the acquisition methods of the keystones. They can be obtained from AMR, gear dungeons, and the dungeon shop now, if you want to get them there. They replaced the gold reward for enhancing any gear in weekly quest with a random keystone reward. So now you're going to get a keystone on top of that. Here is the other thing that I'm going to welcome as well, in addition to all the other changes that they have identified here. They are going to add a feature where we're going to be able to place these guys in storage so we don't lose them anymore. That's why they're adding the destruction feature as well. So now, if for some reason we're at capacity, they're going to be placed in storage, and then while to avoid occupying the storage space, and whenever we want, we can open them, and then as long as we have the space, they'll land there. And then we can go ahead and run as many of these as we want to. So big changes to Marwick. This is also excellent. This is quality of life change here. Just so much easier to now battle this content. And hopefully in the future, especially if we know that are level 1s and 2s that we can clear right away, just run it on the background. Don't let us watch the whole battle. It's not necessary. Gear and artifacts, big changes to Cataclysm set. The bonus effect is getting increased. So this especially for some heroes, and you have the complete set, exclusive, faction exclusive, everything. This should hit harder. So upon landing a crit hit, the hero's damage was increased by 10% for 5 seconds. Now it goes up to 8 seconds. This should make Cataclysm a lot better for some heroes. There's no question about it. We should see some of the effects here. And I think that now Cataclysm, especially for those heroes that have exclusive gear again, is going to be really, really integral in terms of what we want in terms of forging. This is going to be big. So perfect. They optimized the activation logic of the Invigoration and the Wing of Grace gear set. They're going to make sure that it prioritize granting attack to heroes that do not have something like Sanctity. So like Anora, right? So Anora can be buff, but there are some situations that for some reason the game tries to apply the buff to her and skip another hero. Well, now apparently they improved the logic on that. In the Runic Augmentation, okay, so this was a major complaint that I did notice, and it was something that I even verified in the test server. If you roll a stat, let's say, for example, you got attack speed and you got a low value. Well, if you kept rolling on it, you of course would get a different substat to pick from. But if you wanted to stick to attack speed, you had to keep the low roll. What was happening was that when attack speed got picked, it pretty much then locked it out from being a choice on the next set of rolls. So you could never improve on the attack speed. So for example, if you rolled attack, you had to switch over to the attack if you ever wanted to get attack speed back again at a higher value. They're fixing this. So now they're letting you keep the attack speed at the low roll. And if you're lucky enough, hopefully you can then improve on that attack speed on a subsequent roll. So they changed that. I don't know why they nullify the ability for you to roll that stat again. It does not make sense because they don't do that with anything else. It just happened to be in this Runic Augmentation Gem. Well, they fixed it. At least they acknowledged that they made a mistake after that. For those of you that were asking for stamina not to be charged in gear dungeons, they've listened and they are going to make sure now that you can run it just with the key. Given the stamina changes that happen in game, and we're going to talk about that in a separate video, yes, perfect. Because you did take the ability for some of us to use our diamonds for the stamina, or we had to wait, or we had to ration out whatever we could get in the game to run the gear dungeons. So at least they finally fixed that. There are going to be some new stages in the United Front, especially with new bosses. So expanding of the mode. Perfect. I was looking forward to that. So apparently they're going to add hero skins to the diamond rewards for reading the stories. So if you have time, go ahead, get some diamonds out of that hero skin thing. And then, at least it's 50 diamonds. You can do that. So the Tide will include additional talent levels now, up to level 50, it looks like. So there's going to be more Tide features. So look forward to that. They're also going to increase, it looks like here, waves up to 200. So we're at 160. And complete the new wave challenges. And we're going to earn an Innate Soulstone. ×2, it says here. So another way for us to awaken in it. It's in the Tide. Perfect. Here's the other one that I'm excited about to see how complicated the stages are going to be. 6 new stages for Nightmare Faction. Perfect. We'll see how many required heroes are going to be needed for this specific content. So they're also going to be adding Mystery Demon chests here to the dungeon shop, and they're also going to optimize the product refresh rules so to make sure that it sells those Mystery Demon chests. So just another source for us to acquire Demon Soldier fragments. For those of you that want to see what happened in Arena, they're going to include a replay feature. So you can go ahead and watch that and try to optimize your defense if something is going wrong. And then the last points here, I'm going to let you read them all. They're really minor. They have to do with recordings in Guild Wars. Previous ones won't be able to be seen. You're going to be able to, at least they say they're going to be optimizing the battle recording playback rules. We'll see what that is about. The phrasing is really weird. Optimizing Titanic Ruins and Drake Chasm's redistribution. Rewards here. Okay, we'll see what happened. It says here when the guild is disbanded. How many guilds have disbanded after reset? So this is a really weird one. It must have happened once or twice, and then now you they needed to put that in a patch note. They increased the redemption limit of auto fights in the Awakening shop, and they added more gear casting hammers and mystery demon chests for commanders to redeem. So they are trying to improve the Awakening shop, at least there. So more the mystery demon chest, that's probably something that people are going to go for because they want to see if they can get a lord. People want the lord. So this is a big patch. There's a lot going on here. The Cataclysm set, we're gonna I think that this is going to become the GBG set now for sure. I know a lot of my heroes, I was equipping them already with Cataclysm, but I'm sure that this is possibly going to surpass Soulbound Arcana in some of the situations, especially when the battle is shorter, not the long drawn out ones. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of this big improvement with the Keystone trials and the Elddr buff. Finally we see some love for one of the OG Lord heroes in the game. Thank you all very much for tuning and watching. Please do remember to hit like and subscribe, and hopefully we can bring you a little bit of a preview of how this guy is behaving in the future.